Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
To realize the future America needs, we understand what's needed from us. To face each threat head on. We've earned our place in the fight for our nation's future. We are Marines. We were made for this.
Welcome to another Find the Edge production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to the National Counties Cricket Show, and once again we're turning our heads, I think is the best way to put it, to one of our wonderful players who decided to go to wonderful sunnier climes overseas. And he's staring at me right now from 8:30 at night, sun shining, enjoying himself down in Australia. We know who he is, but I'm going to let Hugh introduce him because we think he's the most confused player on Play Cricket, don't we, Hugh?
Yeah, well, I'm counting here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 play cricket cards. The man with the most play cricket cards, with the most runs that he's not getting credit for, is Mr. Freddie Fallows, from currently sitting in the most beautifully skied part of Victoria. How are you doing, Freddie?
Oh, I'm good, thanks, guys. How are you two?
Not too bad. With being out in Australia, obviously you've moved there to play cricket, off to a big start. So how's your fishing going?
Oh, so bad. I cannot save my life.
Really?
Because I hate deep water as well. So I was just in Malakuta for 4 or 5 days, I think it was.
Hang on. Time out. Say that again, because I heard an Aussie accent then. Where were you the last few days?
Malakuta.
He definitely went that way, didn't he?
You've got to.
There's the clip of the pod straight away. I've never had one that quickly.
What do you mean? It's Malakuta. It feels weird saying Malakuta.
Yeah,
It was weird.
Yeah.
Hey, hang on. Let's cut to the chase. We're asking about his fishing. I got a message from Freddie last Saturday to say I'm away for the next 4 days. I've just packed the kayak, the golf clubs, and clearly the fishing gear. Is there any cricket going on, Fred?
No, not in the last few days. Unfortunately, not. It's probably the longest I've had off.
But you enjoyed it. You had a nice breakdown at Malakuta.
Yeah, well, we've obviously got a big last 2 weeks of playing 2 teams. I think they were 4th and 5th in the ladder coming up against us. We did well. We lost to Stratford, who were top last on Saturday, but that happens. So I've had two or three big games, big weekends of preparation and games against them. And then we've obviously got another on Sunday. We've got our GCL final, which is the league representative sides. We won our group, so we've got the final of that on Sunday, and then the week after that we've got a thing called Country Week in Melbourne, where we represent our league in I don't know how it works, but apparently it's a big deal.
It is
I'm probably not doing it justice. So we just thought we'd take 3 or 4 days off to go and relax and do as little as possible before having a pretty full-on 10 or 12 days ahead of us. So yeah, good fun to just go and put my feet up for a little bit.
I mean, the country week, when I spent some time over there, the country week was legendary for not necessarily the amount of cricket / football played, but a few things consumed afterwards. But yeah, it was an honour to be part of it. So it's fantastic that you've managed to get into that side. I'm going to pull you up. So I'm looking at your first game. So is this your first time out in Australia, Freddie?
Yes, yeah, first time.
So your first game, you're playing for the Yarram District Pelicans out there. Your first game,
Correct.
You rock up, you get a few wickets by the looks of the scorecard. 3 wickets
Three, I
for
think, yeah.
not too many runs. You go into bat. Your 2 openers and your number 3 out for ducks in about 3 balls.
Yeah.
And you strike a casual 60 off 54 balls at number 4.
I've also got a bone to pick with that game.
Oh, dear, go on then.
I was giving out LBW on 60. The ball didn't even hit my body.
Is that right?
Yeah. Ball didn't even hit my body. Giving out LBW, reverse sweeping. At that stage, we were non for 3. I'll get it right.
Yeah.
Get it back English. We were non for 3, and then we were maybe 90 for 3 when I got out. Something like that.
Is the video evidence of this ball not striking your body?
There is actually, yeah. I mean,
yes, there is.
I haven't got my Play Cricket ID logged in, but and then the rest of your team get virtually no runs, and then randomly you lose the game, which I still can't figure out. It's a 2-day game with 2 innings. Yet both of you have batted. One's got 165, one's got 143, and then there's no second innings that you lose. And you just sitting there go, these guys are shit.
Well,
things have changed since. Yeah,
I'll admit, it was a weird start because I'd come over and we had I got there on the Wednesday morning after I was delayed in Dubai for 7 hours or something stupid like that. So I got to the country on Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. or something like that. It was actually funny. I fell asleep in the car leaving Melbourne, driving through all the big built-up city. I then wake up going down a country lane 2.5 hours later, having no idea where I am, going, what have I got myself into here? This could be absolutely anything. Go to training the next day on the Thursday, flattest pitch in the world, baking 27 degrees, whatever it is. We go and play on the Sunday, and it's like I'm playing in Cumbria again. The ball didn't get above knee high all day. I just didn't know what was going on. And it was like you just couldn't score a run, which like when people would get 1 off 30 balls, it's because you just couldn't score, and then you get out. So it was just a bizarre start.
It was a Cumbria summer type pitch, whereas for them down in Yarram, it would be a spring pitch for them.
Yes, there was a lot of people complaining about the pitch. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you've kind of picked the Cumbria of Australia. You couldn't have picked a more Cumbria part of Australia to sort of rock up into. It's probably the least like much of the rest of Australia area in Australia.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you knew my dad as well as me, you'd know he'd do anything to just ship me off for 6 months. So right. as soon as we were thinking that I wanted to go out and spend the summer out here, and as soon as we started talking to people, that decision was made on a Saturday night. I then had a game on the Sunday back in England. By the time I'd got home at 8 o'clock on the Sunday night, he said, here's a guy called Dylan Rashi's WhatsApp. He's the president of a club called Yarram, and you fly to them the day after you get back from Spain.
Has he made a bit of money on the back of this agent fee?
Oh well, that's the thing. He hasn't. I mean, I've not asked him, but knowing him, probably he'll have found a way to make money for me, and I've got nothing out of it. So yeah.
Headline: Player's dad makes money without telling. Yeah. But so you literally flew back from Spain and turned around 24 hours later, and you were on your way out to Oz.
See you, Babsy. Yes. So we won in Spain, whatever it would have been, 10 p.m. on the Saturday night. We then obviously celebrate on that Saturday night. And we then had a bus to get to the airport from Malaga at, what would it have been, 8 in the morning, I think it was. We then fly to London, land at London at 2 or 3 p.m. I drive from London to Birmingham to drop off Sam Peeling Wright. Drive from Birmingham at 4:30 p.m. to Manchester Airport. I stay in a hotel there. Wake up at 6 a.m. to my parents banging on my hotel room door because they landed in Manchester from getting home from their holiday. And I then got on a plane from Manchester at a.m. to Dubai. I then that plane in Manchester was delayed 15 minutes. And that meant that I missed my connection flight.
Yeah.
So I had a 6.5 hour delay from Dubai. That 6.5 hours was from 9 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. They turn off their Wi-Fi from 11 p.m. till 2 in the morning. So for half of that time, I had no internet connection, nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep, no one that I knew. and I just had to walk around Dubai airport for 6 hours, and then got on another 13-hour flight and just watched Harry Potter.
And you didn't therefore go home at all. Your dad really did want you away for the winter, didn't he?
Right, yeah. Has he sorted your permanent residency out yet?
I'll get back and there'll be someone sleeping in my bedroom probably. He'll have rented it out for someone. But when we went to Spain, I obviously drove down and did the valet parking or whatever it is, where they look after your car for a week. So, but on my drive down, I drove down from Barrow with my bag that I was taking to Spain, and then my big bag that was coming to Australia with me in the boot. Picked up Sam Keenan-Wright, put his bag and his suitcase in the car. So I got to London the day before we flew out with 3 cricket bags, 9 cricket bats, everything you could think of. And then I'm driving back up there, and it's like 6:30 in the morning in Manchester before I'm flying out of here. And I've got 2 full bags of cricket stuff, trying to figure out, do I need to take this? Do I need to take this? Do I need to take that? One of the bats I wanted to take, my dad said, no, you don't need that bat. I'll use it for cricket training. I'm like, well, hang on, I want to use this. I need to use this in a match. I want to use it in a match, and you're just going to take it and use it to hit throwdowns to 12-year-olds.
Oh, it sounds like you had the most unusual return from Spain of any player whatsoever. I know there's 1 or 2 of, out of the holidays, and I'm trying to think who else might be playing overseas at the moment. But, to turn it around that quickly, it is phenomenal. I've got to ask the big question that's been preying on my mind. That Saturday night when you and your dad had that discussion about you actually going down to Australia and play for the winter.
Yes.
Had you scored any runs on that Saturday or not? I'm guessing you'd got out quite cheaply and he's gone, sod you, you're off.
Going off my club season this year, I'd have to hazard a guess at the fact that I didn't get any runs.
And he said, I've had enough of this. Get down to Australia. We're going to put you where there's absolutely zero distractions. You're not going to be in Sydney. You're not going to be in Melbourne. You're not going to be in Perth or Brizzy. We're going to put you out in the inverted commas Aussie sticks, as far away as we possibly can. And you're just going to do one thing and one thing alone. That's play cricket, so that when you come back in 2025, we get Freddie battering people left, right and centre again.
Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I think he might just be trying to send me away again. You'll find a country. Send me a contract and I'll think about it.
Absolutely.
The Cornwall League's keen at the moment.
You've had a phenomenal couple of months by the sounds of it, Freddie, but let's just go back to, we can't not talk about it on a National Counties Cricket Show. Let's go back to Cartmel and becoming European champions for the second time again. How good was this year?
It just doesn't wear off. Like I thought that, like when it got to the stage of this year, it was close, and then when we got them, however, when we took like the 7th wicket or whatever it was, I was like, okay, we've done it now. Yeah. There was just like there was a 5 or 6 ball period where it was just like same as the year before. It's like there is no better feeling. It's just as good as it gets, and yeah, it's just the kind of thing that you want to do it every day, but at the same time you don't, because you want that feeling is just absolute gold. And if you get it every day, it would wear off. So that just that feeling of doing it, and it's not just like doing it; it's the fact that we did it with. Obviously, there was people came in and people came out from the year before, but just doing it with a squad that we've been with the Challengers for the last however long now. Just having that group of guys, it was just like. Even the people that didn't make it and weren't out in Cartmel with us, there was just like a proper feeling of we were one team, which was something that I've never really had before, which was just incredible.
Closest thing to almost being a club / a national county squad who've been together all year from October. You've been training through April and you've been to Loughborough together. You played Leicestershire, you played Hampshire. You've done all these things all the way through the year and culminating back in basically retaining the trophy.
Yeah, it's just to start to say, if someone had told me 2 years ago that, well, 1, I'd be here, but 2, that I'd gone to Spain twice and represented my country twice, won 2 international winners' medals, and been part of a team that was created, or it would have been about 2 years ago now, that it was properly put into motion of actually becoming something tangible and that you can see growing. I wouldn't even thought it would be possible. But the work that Logue has done, and Elliot now with all the social media and stuff, just the growth that it's got is just so good to see, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm involved or not, just seeing how far it goes with where it can be.
100%.
And just, I mean, looking at your performance in the European Championships, it was such a dominant performance. Like, I know you had the one game that you lost, but it's T10. It's always going to be an element of lottery, just the nature of the. But you were so much better than all the other teams. Like that, everyone was so driven, so focused, and it must have been a bit annoying for the European cricket guys by how dominant that you were and so professional. You know, the fielding was out of this world. You know, every aspect of the game had been thought about, and you just dominated from start to finish. Whereas maybe in previous years, I watched a bit of previous year, but not so much the others. But you know, you've been more vulnerable to an upset by one guy, and it just that wasn't there this year.
Yeah, so just on the field, it's like there'd been obviously everyone sees the videos of when it goes comically wrong and stuff like that. Yeah. But there was times, especially this year, where I remember there was one opportunity where it went, I was at like short third man and Johnny Connell was at deep point, and there's one that's gone up to him, and as he's like gone back and flicked it, I've realised there was maybe a 0.5% chance that I could have gone with him and gone and taken a catch. And then as that's not happened, I've then like, because the standard was that high from all the other teams had gone up and our team was that high, I was there like thinking that I dropped an absolute dolly because I didn't take a 0.5% chance of just being there just in case, which is just insane to even think that I'd have been like upset with myself that I didn't go and take a 1 in 200 chance, just because every game you were seeing, whether it was us or Scotland or the Netherlands or the Germans, just someone would do something incredible every game.
I think one of the things that was really interesting for me, though, with the tournament for yourself, Freddie, is you didn't get a bat because we batted so well. And I've got to say, how do I put this? Have we found the new Freddie Fallows? Is Johnny Connell taking your mantle as the biggest strike rate in the Challengers?
Well, in all honesty, just to be in the conversation of Johnny Connell becoming the new Freddie Fallows, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's potentially the biggest compliment I've ever had. So thank you very much.
Well, with a strike rate of 278 in the final alone, I mean, you love striking the ball, and it's one of the things we love about watching you play. But for you sitting on the sidelines watching Johnny literally take the Netherlands apart that night, that must have been something special on the sideline there.
It was, how do I say this? It was, however much you're there wanting to be the one doing it, I was so happy to just be a spectator.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't a spectator, just to be sitting there and watching that was just every other ball. One of us was like, jaw on the ground. What is that? How on earth you that? That man is not human, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So just to see that unfold was just something else. And there was times I almost felt bad for them because it was just because he did it. Was it against the Netherlands in the semi-final or in a different game, or was it the Germans or something? There was one game where you're like, oh my God, if he does this in the final, this could be the best thing that's ever happened. And then, as Johnny Connell does, he goes and does it, obviously.
In the sort of qualifier / semi-final, whatever it is, Johnny Connell 56 off 18 balls.
Yes, that one.
7 sixes, 2 fours.
I think the biggest compliment we can pay Johnny, and I'm sure you'd back me on this, is when he outscores, not just in strike rate, but in terms of runs, Dan Lincoln, Niels Priestley and Sam Young in that final. And those three are known as massive hitters, especially at Carterman when it comes to Sam and Dan. He just made it look so easy. And I don't know if you picked up on it yourself, but pre-Christmas, we had a young lady called Tilly Kesteven doing exactly the same for the women's England side. She started off slowly, like Johnny did, and just exponentially, and then she got to the final and MVP of the tournament and just found the groove. And that's what it seems to be about out at Carter. Once you find that groove, they just went with it, didn't they?
It was just incredible to watch him. Maybe it was the first 2 or first 3 games I don't think Johnny played, and which, as being someone who's been there twice and missed out on playing some of the games as well, it's rubbish, obviously. You want to be playing, but I feel like it was something that was for him. He was able to sit there and watch and talk to Lambo, talk to Lynx, talk to Youngie and all that, and figure out what works. So when he went out there was no figuring it out. He just went out there and just had his plan. It was, well, we all saw it. It was just incredible. And then obviously to have the girls, it was tough for me to watch because when they were playing, it was in the morning for me and stuff like that. So it was tough for me to watch, but I'd watch the highlights when I could. And it was just great to watch. Great to watch, to see two England teams just go and dominate and just be the best. It was great.
And I think that's the key in 2024. When we won both in 2023, we were good. This year in 2024, we dominated. And every little bit of practice and every little training session and all of that work that had gone in through the year, it just came right out, didn't it?
Yeah. And it was just, I think that's just one thing of being another year wiser. I know Lambo likes to claim that he's still young. So just to be that another year wiser, another year there and figuring out things and knowing our oppositions and how people are going to try and do us in like this, do us in like that, figure us out. It's just every year we've just got that little bit better and figuring out what works and what doesn't and being just clear. I think that was the main thing I saw with, obviously we had it in the first year I was there with Lynx and Youngie and all that. Just being clear and just saying, you've got these two shots, just play that every ball.
Yeah.
But with us and the girls, it was just obliterating the ball. Like those Grizzlies are backbreakers, but there were some times where I was thinking that Johnny was going to put a hole in the ball. It was awesome.
Jewelry isn't a gift you give just once. It's a way to remind your loved one of a beautiful moment every time they see it. Blue Nile can help you find the gift that says how you feel and says it beautifully with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com to find the perfect jewelry gift for any occasion. BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places. Between payroll, your tax consultant, and the IRS. If your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Let's cut back to last year generally before we talk about what you're up to this year. It didn't really crack for you personally with Kendal last year, did it?
Nah, I was rubbish.
Technical description, was that from your dad or you, by the way?
Both.
But it did, not just yourself, Kendal, it didn't just, you'd won the league the year before. And it didn't quite click for the team, did it?
Yeah, it was just, I remember when the year we won it, I remember there was a moment in the evening where the captain, Chris, the captain, just disappeared. And me and one of the young lads, Max, we went and found him in the changing room. And he probably won't like me to admit it for him, but he was there, sat in his little captain corner, like head in hands, crying. But he's been through so much for the club that when me, him and Max just sat down, just like almost went and did a match report for every game. And every single game, we had no right to win, but we'd have someone would get the worst looking 40 you've ever seen and get us to 110. Yeah. And then someone would do something for us. And that's why we had no right to win it that year, but at the exact same time, every right to win it because someone would get us out of it every time. But it was just this year, we just didn't happen. I think there was maybe a little bit of, well, last year, Brad got us out of it this game, or someone did this, so maybe there was a little bit of, well, we did it last year, we'll just do it again.
Yeah.
But there was also all the other teams, everyone stepped up this year, which obviously I know that I still like to think. I rocked up every game thinking that if we had a 7 out of 10 or better as a team, we'd win. That was just, we'd get into winning positions and toss it off. And then sometimes when it was, you'd get into a position and in the year before we'd be like, okay, this is where someone goes and gets a disgusting looking 30 off 80 balls. Yeah. And it just didn't happen this year, which was frustrating. But at the same time, I feel like it'll be good for us to realise that, in the year you could have just gone, well, someone else will do it because someone did. This year it'll be the year of like, right, rather than having someone else do it, be the one, just grab it and do it yourself. which will be good for us. And I think that me being out here has been good for me because I've been out here and every game I rock up, it's every game, all they care about is getting me out, which has been good for me to learn, to mature a bit and actually stop being known as the overgrown baby in the Challengers and actually grow up a little bit and learn how to become an actual man, if that makes sense. So, yeah, fingers crossed we can move on from last year because, yeah, that was not great.
Does this mean the strike rate's going to drop from 200 to 160?
Oh, you never know. You never know. I don't even know. It might have even been below 100 this year for Kendal. I remember there was definitely a few games where I was 2 off 20 and then got out for 20 off 30 or something like that.
Come on, Hugh. What was his strike rate?
1 to 120. Yeah. Okay. That's all comments for Kendal. Speaking of obviously being the man out in Australia, have you felt that's affected your game at all, or have you been able to cope with it? As without that extra pressure, sort of changing your decision making.
Yeah, well, I feel like the 2-day games out here I quite like. It's similar to when we played our 3-day championship games. There was the game, our home game, my first home game here, I got 100 off 59 balls or whatever it was, but I was 2 off 22, I think. I've just learned that obviously it's a little bit different because the wickets are that much better out here. But just learning that, it's chalk and cheese. Like I always say that if we rocked up on Saturday, I mean, we've got a bye this week, but if we rocked up and played in our outfield, it would be better than all of the squares back home. It's that much better. So I can back that I'll be 2 off 20 and then I'll catch up, which has helped me mature with a little bit when I was playing for Kendal. I'd be, see you in a bit, guys. I'd be 10 off 30 balls or something. I'd be like, oh God, I'm this big hitter. I'm this guy. I'm that guy. I have to go and do something, and then I'd chip one to extra cover or something like that. So, fingers crossed, I've matured a little bit to understand that sometimes you don't need to get 450 to win a game. Mm-hmm. You can win a game with 200.
Have you enjoyed being the man? I assume you're getting copping a bit of stick off some of the opposition on a relatively regular basis. Yes, yeah. Well, obviously, as everyone should know about me by now, I don't shy away from it. So I get stuck back into them, which is probably the reason why I've been given out off my bat twice already, LBW. But it happens. I don't hold grudges. Yeah, no, I have enjoyed it. I like being the centre of attention, which I know Ian saw that day when you came down to watch me playing against Zimbabwe. I like being the one who wins a game or is the reason that they lose a game, if that makes sense. So I've really enjoyed that of being not a medium-sized fish in a small pond, because there's some serious players out here. Just being that person that every single time they rock up, it's just we've got to make sure he doesn't do anything. And in terms of that medium-sized fish in a pond or whatever you actually are, we got back to fishing. How would you describe the standard that you're playing down there at Yarram? And you've got 3 or 4 levels I can talk about. If you put it versus Kendal Northern Prem, Cumbria WCA, or even take it a stage further, the Leicestershire games, the Hampshire games for the Challengers, where would you position this Yarram, sort of the level that you're playing?
I reckon I'd probably say that the Saturday cricket would be similar to Northern Prem, potentially a little bit higher, but not too high because now the wickets are that good that sometimes it's still, I'm not going to say easy, because it's obviously not easy, but because the wickets are that good, you can still just trust the bounce and whether it's going to do anything off the pitch.
Bit like playing at Blackpool.
Yeah, like playing at Blackpool, but not when you're batting against Richard Gleeson. Saying that, I did quite enjoy and that was quite fun. But yes, that's quite, I'd say it's similar, maybe a little bit higher, but it promotes a higher quality of cricket playing on good wickets. Because there's a lot of times back home where we'll rock up on a pitch and I'll be like, what is the point of me bowling spin? I'm just going to run in and bowl 65 mile an hour dibbly dobblies and they won't score a run, and which every team's got 2 or 3 of. Whereas the clubs out here, when they've come on to bowl that dibbly dobbly, and I'm there going, my God, if I'm playing this out in England, I'm getting out every time. But here, doesn't swing, doesn't nip about, and it's the flattest pitch in the world, it's just a 65-mile-an-hour throwdown, which that's the thing where it promotes having skill, if that makes sense. So that's made it so the standard is that little bit higher, I think.
Okay. So if you put the top sides in your division in Australia up against the top sides from last year, let's pick a name off the top of my head, Fleetwood, from the Northern Prem, you know, how would Declan and Matty Siddle and those guys go against the guys from Yarram?
Well, Sid's actually was in the league a couple of years ago.
Okay.
He was supposedly I think it was Collegians. He was at a team called Collegians. It's called they're called College, but Collegians or whatever they are. I think he was. Think it was there he was at. He was definitely out a couple of years ago. I can't remember. No, I've not spoken about how he did, so I don't know how well he did out here. But yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where Sid, knowing obviously I get on well with Sid's obviously, but playing at Fleetwood helps, as Fleetwood is an absolute ragging Bunsen burner. So that's the kind of thing that'll help him out a lot. But I think he'd do well out here. They all, like every team's top 2 or 3 players back home would come out here and do well. But I reckon if you put my side and Stratford, the other top side in this league, in the Northern Prem, I'm not going to say they'd finish first and second, but I'd say they'd both finish in the top 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good standard, really good standard.
Yes, good standard, and it's not. I'm not to say that the teams back home, it would be your bottom place would always lose the top place. There's obviously upsets, but the majority of the time, there's 2 or 3 teams. There's two teams that are like, if you've got them, it's almost guaranteed 6 points in the nicest way possible. Mm-hmm. But then those other 7 teams, anyone can beat anyone, and they do, which is why it's so close. With I think we went from second place 3 points off top. We then lost the game last week. We've now got a week off, and if results go against us, we could be 5th before our next game, which is absolutely mental. But it's the standard is that the standard's good. Yeah.
Can you explain how a team can lose a 2 innings game when no team bats in the second innings?
Yes and no. It's a 2 innings game, but a lot of it ends up just being you bat one day, they bat the other, and that's you can get 6 points for winning over 1 innings, but you get 10 points if you win over 2. It promotes if you get that means you've got to take 20 wickets in 80 overs effectively, which is very rare to happen. But obviously it does happen, but they said this year there's been more than ever. There's normally been 2 times a season, but it happened 4 times before Christmas this year or something like that. So I don't know where the ruling it comes in.
So it's just a point split. It looks like one but you get 6 points rather than 10, or vice versa. So it's more like a winning draw. Yeah, and I don't know where the cut-off is, or because there was one game where it looked like we were chasing 220, and it was like looking like we were going to chase it down in 35 overs at one point, and there'd still be 45 overs left in the game. So then I said, well, if we chase it down in 35 and I'm still batting, can we try and get 100 off the next 10 overs? And then say, right, you've got 35 overs to bat. You've got to get 100 to make us bat again and don't get bowled out. To which I was told no, because the umpires would just call the game. That it comes down to some sort of umpire's discretion, I think, which doesn't make too much sense. So as far as I'm aware, we will be 1 innings each, unless you get bowled out in 20 overs.
And we think we've got format issues over here, Hugh.
Yeah, well, I've been scratching my head all summer for the last couple of years looking at that, going, well, what's going on there? But anyway.
Absolutely. You're out there until what date, Freddie? What date do we see you potentially grace these shores again, dependent on your dad?
It's dependent on my dad. If my dad's involved, probably 2027. If he's not involved, we've got our game for Kendal on the 12th of April. Mm-hmm. So I'll be back before then.
So you'll be back. You'll be in Australia then up till finals weeks, more or less.
Yes, because it's looking like we'll be having a semi-final. It's touch and go whether we get a home semi-final or an away semi-final. But it's looking like it will play sail no matter what, almost. Yeah. Either us finishing second or them finishing second. Mm-hmm. I can't remember when the grand final is, but we'd like to hope that we can back ourselves to get there again, because they won the league last year. Yeah, so that would be whatever. I think it's the end of end of March would be the grand final. To then come back a week or 2 weeks after that would be the look. So I think we've got some sort of cricket trip a week after.
Yeah,
with all our fines money.
What, for all the Yarram fines money?
All the Yarram fines money.
So that would be the equivalent of the Challengers celebration on the Saturday night before you come back to Heathrow then?
Yes, but there won't be as much. You get back into the hotel at 4 a.m. to be woken up at 6 a.m. to get on the bus.
Exactly.
A little bit less than that.
But you could end up with a fines trip and then get on a plane, come back to the UK, and within a week be playing for Kendal.
Correct.
You're basically an all-year-round cricketer now, mate.
Well, I'm not complaining. I don't know what else I'd be doing. It's either that or sat watching TV. So I'd much rather be out playing cricket.
Go on, Hugh.
Have they tapped you up for next year yet? Are we
Yeah, there wasn't much of a discussion with it. It was just I was 3 weeks in, and there was a very informal. You're going to come back next year, yeah? Yeah, cool. No worries, sorted.
Done.
Kind of things.
I'll make sure you get the agent's fee this time and not your dad then.
I'll tell them my dad's died or something. They have to talk to me.
But joking apart, that's how good it feels. You're enjoying it out there that much that you're going. We spoke to Noah Kelly a few weeks ago. He's down in Melbourne. Exactly the same. Can't wait to go back again next year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, because however much I'm pretty out there and rambunctious is the word I get told sometimes, if I've said that correctly. I'm sometimes not so great in like new situations. So the fact that I came out here and I'd been in the country 25 hours and I was already in a headlock getting nuggied by the wicketkeeper kind of thing. It was just like straight away. Fit in straight away. Everyone's looked after me, and it's just nice to go and just do me, if that makes sense. Not having to. Obviously, I'm not a child anymore, so I can go and do what I want when I'm in England. But there's a little bit of when I live at my parents' house, I'm not going to say to all my cricket mates, "Oh yeah, lads, come over and we'll watch the Australia-New Zealand Test match at 3 a.m" kind of thing. So it's quite nice to have a little bit of autonomy and just get out and just make new friends and stuff, which has been really nice. And just the town's because the town's got 2,200 people, I think it is. So by the time I'd been here for a month, every time I'd walk into any shop, it was, "Oh, hiya, Fred. Oh, hiya, Tom. How are you, mate?" So it was quite nice everyone knows everyone. Everyone gets on like they've known each other forever, and they're everyone's best man at everyone's wedding and stuff like that. So it's just a great place.
I know we give the Aussies a lot of shit on a fairly regular basis, and it goes both ways. But the one thing that I've loved about them is they value the sporting culture and the club culture so highly. It's ingrained in 50% of the population. And 50% of the population were, I was out there playing. I didn't play cricket, but I was playing football, soccer. I was playing touch Aussie rules. I was playing netball. Come and do this, come and do that, come and do that. And it's just there, and that sort of communal club culture. A lot of it's based around the bar, but in a very, very social way. And it's just, and as a sport-loving POM to go into that, then they're basically English people. It's a very similar culture, isn't it? But I found a lot of the best bits of England, are there as well. So it's a soft landing, isn't it, really, for anybody travelling?
Oh, yeah, it's just, especially, I'm not sure it's been like for where you were, but here it's, the ground we use is the cricket ground, but it's also the footy oval. So then we give them calling them the old bunch in the team, but there's these lads who are around the late 30s, early 40s age, who've grown up together, played cricket together, played football together. And there's always just like that togetherness of everyone's been best mates since they were 6. None of them have left. They're not going to leave. They're all just here, and they just live and breathe either the Yarram Pelicans or the Yarram Demons. And it's just so nice that everyone's known as, like, you can walk around it. I walk around in my Yarram kit and they'll recognise that and be like, "Oh, have you seen Rashi or Griffin or something?" And then everyone just knows everyone and gets on so well.
Have you been out on a boat trip that they've taken you deep sea fishing?
No, not yet.
No.
I don't have too much interest in going in deep water, though.
No, that's the next one. Get yourself out there.
No. Maybe. They'll throw me in, though.
It sounds like you've basically gone to it is mini Cumbria, but even on a smaller basis, and it's everyone knows each other, and that's the joy of. I can imagine going to somewhere like Melbourne. It might have been a bit of a shock, but it is great to be in that sort of environment. But the key thing is that's obviously benefiting your cricket and benefiting your lifestyle and your work life. The whole works, isn't it?
Yes, there's obviously like the coming out here and trying to, one, become better at cricket, and two, just keep ticking it over without having to do a winter.
Yeah.
But there's also just the growing up aspect. I know I was talking about growing up on the pitch, but the growing up and not just being my mum and dad's son, going and being just one of the men in town, if that makes sense. And growing up and just becoming a functioning member of society rather than just being someone's child.
Statistically, I mean, we see guys, don't we, when we're looking at the stats of players, and particularly, Premier League players, you look at their previous season, the current season, you see a guy averaging mid-50s, and you look at the previous season, they're averaging mid-20s, and then you have a quick look on playcricket.com.au, and then you see the reason why. And there was one lad last year playing in Sydney, I can't remember his name now, but he had a phenomenal season in the Premier Leagues, and he'd been playing grade cricket out in Sydney all winter, and it's just that click. It's just those things that you learn, and it's just something that, if you can, everybody should do.
Oh, definitely. It's just... Even though in the winter in England, you can go and do a training session, but, I need to work on picking a googly, for example. I need to figure out how to pick it. And you can do it weeks on weeks and weeks, but there's nothing more valuable than just figuring it out on the pitch and going out there. Like, obviously I'm here as one of the overseas pro and all that stuff. And in the changing rooms, you've got to be the calm head and just keep it simple. Pick your shot. Just play this. Go this. But half the time, I'm walking out there going, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing here. I'm just going to figure it out and see what happens. Which is just the beauty of just being out here and just having the backing of the club to go. We know that if you give us 3 9 out of 10 performances in 4 weeks, those 3 games have been won.
Yep.
So it's just nice having the backing to go and back myself and figure out what works. And if something doesn't work one week, I was go, well, there's always next week.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. Obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors, but they take time and energy, pulling you away from building and shipping. That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. The platform connects you with trusted experts to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. So whether you're closing your first deal or gearing up for growth, Vanta makes compliance easy. Join over 8,000 companies, including Y Combinator and Techstar startups who trust Vanta. For a limited time, get $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/simplify. That's VANTA.com/simplify for $1,000 off.
And what you could do with is coming back to the UK and having a 2020 style summer with it being red hot all the way through, hard pitches the way you've got used to now in ours and just knowing exactly what's happening. But unfortunately, we know the chances of that are quite negligible. You're going to come back to the UK. You're actually going to, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, you're probably going to play an NCCA game before you play a league game for Kendal because of the new format in the Northern Prem. And 27th of April, I think it is, you've got your first Cumbria game. You're back at it then in the trophy. How much are you looking forward to getting around the lads then from Cumbria again?
Oh, it feels a little bit weird actually that I've not been one, training with the Cumbria lads, but two, being in a sports hall.
Yes.
It'll be the first year since it'll be 13 years, I think it is, since I'll have been in a sports hall, which is just bizarre. It just feels so weird to have not faced a bowling machine ball or a sidearm from my dad saying I'm rubbish or something like that. It's all.
He's copping it today, isn't he?
Well, I mean, I cop it off him every single time I play. So, yeah, it's weird. I can't wait to get back and just go straight in. Like, I don't want to go back and sit around. I want to get off the plane and go straight to either a Kendal game or a Cumbria game and just go and get back around the lads and just play. So yeah, I can't wait to get back. Whatever, even if we've got Dorset away, I know we don't, but even if we've got something like Norfolk away in a 50-over game, where I've got to drive down after Saturday and I get there at 4 a.m. and I've got the toss at 9:30. I couldn't care less. I just want to go and play.
I think you've actually been given an easy one then, therefore, because you're Northumberland away in the first game.
Even better. I'll drive in the morning.
But you do have the pleasure of South Northumberland Cricket Club for your first game of the season. So you're playing at a Premier League cricket club. You're playing at a decent track straight away. Getting straight back into it. You've got the 40-over League Cup, as they're calling it, in the Northern Prem to start with. That'll be a bit of a... But it probably works for you, playing 40 overs on a Saturday and then the 50 on the Sunday in the NWCA Trophy.
Yeah, well, it's actually, you say that, it's nice for me to be playing at South North. I think I've had 11 days of cricket there scheduled. I've played 1.5.
Okay.
I've had 9.5 days of cricket rained off at South North, which is a shame because it looks, and people tell me it's nice, and it's a nice ground and a really nice clubhouse and sports hall, but I couldn't tell you what the pitch is like.
Which is where you've spent most of the time when you've been there, in the clubhouse of the sports hall.
Yes. Yeah, so that'll be, fingers crossed I can actually play. And yeah, I've not actually thought, I remember our captain at Kendal came to me for what my thoughts about the restructure of the league format, because the league came to the clubs to ask what we thought. And one, he wasn't too fussed, but two, he thought that there was a few times where Cumbria lads couldn't play and it was a bit rubbish, like when we lost to Fleetwood at Fleetwood closely because we had 3 of us playing a county game, and if we'd have been there, it could have been different. So he thought he'd ask me and I'd give my opinion, but I hadn't thought about it for 3 months since he asked. So I can't remember what exactly I chose, but I remember liking the option. Otherwise, I wouldn't have chose it, obviously. But there was some times where you'd rock up on the Sunday for those 40 over games, and it was a bit of a, like my first year, I didn't play in it last year because we were out in like the 5th round, I think, and all 4 first rounds I was. So I wasn't playing that, but for my first year at Kendal, we lost in the first round to Leyland, and it was just like rocked up on the Sunday. No, I was the second person at the ground, and I was at the ground 15 minutes before we started playing. It was a little bit of a what's going on here, but I feel like by putting it on Saturdays and putting a little bit more interest into it, there'll be fingers crossed it makes it a little bit more of a important competition and people actually buy into it, because it's a little bit different where the T20 stuff's all, anything could happen. Obviously it's a T20 game, and then it's a way around of the batting out for the draws and stuff on a Saturday. So I quite like having I know it's a pink ball, but having a white ball game in there as well, and that kind of mindset, because there can be some teams that don't necessarily perform so well in the normal Saturday games, could have a chance to go up if they've got more depth in their bowling, and they can actually have 5 bowlers bowl, where most teams only really bowl 4 on a Saturday, where having to scrape for that 5th bowler could be the difference of them conceding 200.
I'm going to put a challenge out there to you at Kendal, and I'll do it to a couple of other Northern Prem sides as well. You're playing 40 overs on a Saturday. At the same time, the preliminary rounds, the preliminary second round for the National Club Championship are on the Sunday, which are 40 overs. It's like you're warming up on a Saturday for the National Club Championship on the Sunday.
Oh, who qualifies for that?
Well, Kendal's first game you will not be playing in, I have a funny feeling, because it is on Sunday the 27th of April when you'll be playing for Cumbria at Northumberland, and Kendal are playing Flowery Field in the prelim round 2.
Sorry, Flowery Field?
Correct.
Sorry to anyone who plays that, but I just didn't realise that could be an actual place.
Manchester way. Yeah, you're definitely playing for Cumbria and not Kendal now.
According to the person who, I can't remember his name, the guy who was a pro for Northumberland last year. Now my dad's not the coach. I'm not going to get picked anymore. So I might be playing Kendal.
Okay, and in the the first proper round after the prelims, you have to play, if you beat Flowery Field, you've got to go away to Ormskirk. A little bit of a challenge. I mean, joking apart, I mean, have you kept in touch with some of the transfers that are going on over in your league at the moment?
No, I'm not going to lie to you. Before I went, there was a little bit, and when I first got there was a little, but no.
Cole Abrahams and Harry Templeton. Harry being a great player coming out of the Bradford League, that'll be a good addition for you guys. Also, you've got a certain Keegan Peterson from South Africa. He's the overseas pro at Chorley. You've got Michael Rippon overseas at Fleetwood.
Yeah.
And I think he's a New Zealander. He looks ridiculously strong. And you've got some guy called Matt Taff, who's gone from Lytham to Blackpool. Don't know if you've heard of him.
I've heard the name.
That's all we want. Stop there. But the one that we're really interested in, and we can't wait to see how this guy goes. Summit Ruaka has left Wallasey in the Liverpool and District Premier League and gone to Garstang. And if he doesn't take 70 wickets in the Northern Prem, I'll be amazed.
Why? Is he that good?
I think he missed 100 wickets every season, just about.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he's pretty handy then.
He's decent.
Left arm orthodox.
What else would he be? Whilst you're playing for Yarram, fishing, golfing, kayaking, all these funny things that you're doing down there that we don't get to do over here very often, there is stuff still going on over here. The Challengers boys are organising whatever they can for this year. NWCA is preparing for the return in April. Northern Prem's preparing for the return. But what are you looking forward to coming back to the most? What have you missed the most about being at home?
I don't know why it's the first thing that came to my head, but I really missed being able to wear joggers. Don't know why that's come to. I don't know why that's the first thing that came to my head, but I've really missed wearing joggers.
Because you've been in shorts.
Short, and the only rule here is the shorts have to be short, proper short. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Not
Aussie shorts.
Have you got a singlet, shorts and singlet with a?
Yeah. The singlet doesn't come out too much though, because the top of my neck burns.
Yeah.
Well, you say that though. I tan really easily, and my whole body's fine. But the top of my back and my shoulders, 10 minutes in the sun, I wake up the next day looking like you've just painted a car red.
So the headline from the whole pod is the thing that Freddie Fallows misses the most. Is wearing joggers, Hugh. I mean, I think that deserves his dad throwing him back to Australia next year anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. I always miss chip shops. Chip shops in Australia just didn't work. So.
I've not even been to one because I said to them, "Are you fishing? Is your fish here any good?" And they went, "It's probably not as good as England." I went, "I'm not having it then." Wow. I'm not.
Fish is all right. It's the rest.
Yeah, no, the fish like in a fish and chip shop. I mean, sorry, the proper fish is awesome.
No, but even in a fish and chip shop, it's fine. It's just like they just don't do it. It's like
it's just wrong. But there was one where the guy who I'm living with, he got one, and the batter, there was more batter than fish. That was potentially the most angry I've been in a long time. And I don't even get battered fish when I'm in England.
We're coming towards the end, but there's some very important questions that Hugh has to ask everybody who we speak to who is down in Australia. Over to you.
Have you seen a shark?
No.
Have you seen a snake? You must have. Yeah. Big spider.
Yeah.
Yeah. On your pillow.
Oh, it was shocking.
Huntsman.
Driving back, my housemate's son, we were driving back because he was staying with a friend in town. As we're driving back, he goes, "Fred, can I sleep on your floor tonight? Because I don't really want to sleep in my room." And I went, "Yeah, of course you can, mate. Like, I'm not bothered." Open the door, massive huntsman on my pillow. I'm like, right, sofa. So we both slept in the living room. Just didn't even go in. Not having it. Absolutely hate them.
At least it's 2 out of 3, Hugh, because we didn't do so well with Noah on that one, did we?
We need to go shark hunting. These lads need to go shark spotting.
They need to get him out deep sea fishing, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's the issue. However rare they are, I'd be the one bloke to lose an arm to a shark. I know. It just would be me.
Hey,
there's a one way of getting fame, and that would be it. So there you go.
Yeah.
No, I'd much rather he gets fame by scoring the winning runs in the grand final for Yarram.
There we go.
That'd be you'd be
then losing an arm to a shark.
Yeah, okay. You would be a hero to Yarram. They'll have a statue. To be 2,200 people plus a statue of Freddie Fallows. Then
a statue of an arm with a cricket bat and nothing else. Yeah,
it's about right.
With the Scott Boland. Yeah.
Hey, it's been brilliant catching up, Freddie. Obviously, me and you have always got on very well, and it's great to be able to relive some of last year, but more importantly, what you've been getting up to in the winter, because that's what it's all about for you down there. We joke a lot about your dad throwing you down there, I know, but actually, that cricket experience for you and that life experience down there is second to none, and that's what you're getting, mate, isn't it? That's what it's all about for you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. However much I can't wait to get back, it's just so good being out here and just having it's just an opportunity, like you said earlier, Hugh, it's if you can, you've got to get out there. You've got to get out there, wherever you end up going. Maybe not out in the outback, but that's a little bit different.
Definitely. Great catching up, Freddie. Look forward to seeing you back in the UK, mate, and we'll be watching the scores week in, week out as we do, hey, Hugh?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
All the best.
Keep going.
Cheers, thanks. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NWCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Save on your next oil change at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Choose Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil to provide maximum performance and protection for your engine. Get a $15 gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Castrol Edge for $34.95. Plus 2 times O Rewards points. Offer valid in-store and online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.